Hi, I'm Nicola.
And I'm Jay Percy.
And welcome to the Afro Animist Podcast.
We are two animists and spiritual practitioners exploring the secular through the spiritual, discussing life experiences through a sacred lens.
Each week we share our experiences and dive deep into everything in life, from philosophy, metaphysics, obeah, occultism, shamanism, culture, healing, nature, animism,
the arts, pop culture, conspiracies, psychedelics and witchcraft. Nothing is off the table in these discussions, which aim to get to the heart of what it means to be spiritual and Afro-diasporic in an increasingly sterile and authoritarian world.
We keep it real whilst exploring the biggest mysteries of our multiverse. Join us holding this space to laugh, cry, debate, build community and tear down oppressive structures.
On the 15th of October, we'll be speaking live at the Magical Women's Conference about Afro-Indigenous practice and the shadow.
We'll be doing a deep dive into shadow work and using Afro-Indigenous practice to improve the relationship with the self and external world.
Get your tickets at www.magicalwomenconference.com. Look at the show notes for more information and see you there. Welcome, beautiful being of the multiverse, to the Afro Animist Podcast. You are here with me today, Jay Percy.
And me, Nicola. And we have another wonderful subject to talk about today. I'm very excited about it. Again, I feel like Jay is more pro in this area than me, so she'll probably be dropping all of the gems. Like, no. But we're going to be talking about... We're going to be talking about magical herbal beauty. So what we do, how we include our beauty regimes and things like that in our spiritual practice. And I think it's really interesting because, like, a lot of people, I think, can separate the two, but there is something in the self-care that I think is really important when it comes to connecting with spirit. Well, like, we have this idea, look, this is something I find interesting, Sunday best, right? So to go to church, you wear your Sunday best, right? You're going to put on your nice outfit, you're going to do your hair. That's traditionally what we would do. You dress up nice for God. So in my mind, this stuff it's the same, right? It's like getting ready for temple, getting ready for ceremony, getting ready to do ritual, getting ready for your day even, like, is part of all of that. And I feel like acknowledging beauty, and then whatever that looks like to you, it doesn't matter. There's not a standard in this work, but like, acknowledging beauty is an important part of it, and also like really fun to do because you can make really cool potions.
Yeah, I do definitely. I do think there's something really poignant about you pointing out that beauty is going to mean different things to different people, and it absolutely should mean different things to different people. I think with growing up in a world where it's so we've seen one standard of beauty sort of growing up, and it's been quite limited. It's really around the closer you are to European looking, the prettier you are, and that has been quite stifling. Growing up, people would tell me I was pretty, but I wouldn't quite believe it in places because I wouldn't necessarily see people who looked, or if they did look like me, there was always like sly digs. So for instance, like Scary Spice, like, she's friggin' beautiful. Imagine being given fucking moniker Scary Spice, and then when it would come to when it would come to fancy dress parties and people would be talking about who they're going to dress up as, there'd be the comments like, oh no, Scary Spice isn't even the prettiest one. Like, okay, what does that mean? I remember going on holiday with someone in like 2014, this grown-ass woman. I couldn't stand this woman. It was one of my friend's exes and she was just icky. And this whole conversation about Game of Thrones, and where she was comparing Emilia Clarke to Natalie, I don't know, what's her surname?
Oh my gosh.
You know,
you've forgotten, I've forgotten. Girl. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And she's like, Emilia Clarke is 1,000,000 times prettier than her. She's so like plain and butters. And I'm thinking, okay, I know you, and that's entirely coded. What you're saying is she's not pretty because she even made a comment about like, oh, her frizzy hair, her afro hair. We It's those sort of like dog whistle, you're not pretty because you don't fit exactly what it means to look like this, you know, lily white Nordic goddess, which, you know, those girls are pretty, but there are different kinds of pretty, and we live on a planet where we're supposed to acknowledge different kinds of beautiful. Do you say that the ocean is more beautiful than a tree? No, they are both beautiful. They are both beautiful in their own context. They are both
Exactly.
necessary in their own context. You're not gonna. It just seems silly to me to put against each other. And
Totally agree,
yeah,
babe.
dressing up for God. Dressing up for God. You are the God. Why are you not dressing up for you? Why are you just dressing up for a
Exactly.
Sunday? Why are you just dressing up for dinner? Like, get dressed up, or that's going to mean different things to you than it is to me. You know, maybe it means makeup, maybe it means no makeup, maybe it means putting some magical herbs on yourself to get yourself feeling G'd up. It's going to mean different things. Just find your own way, dance your own tune, because you are here as a corner of the universe to experience this corner of the universe in yourself, and in no other way but your own.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. So you are God. So this is what we're talking about. It's about that place of stepping into that, and like also appreciating that depth that you have. I remember
Yeah.
like one time I posted on Facebook this picture, and it was like this beautiful Arabic woman, and she had like a headdress on with like a beautiful kind of lace material and the most gorgeous
Yeah.
makeup. You know, there's this kind of Arabic makeup that's going on right now, which is just like bam, 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 beautiful, and
Yeah.
obviously enhances the features. So gorgeous. And I posted this picture, and the quote on it was something I can't remember, but it was something like, you know, about beauty and love and God, like this kind of stuff. And all the girls on my Facebook were like, yeah, yeah, and they all loved it. And then this guy came in and was like, I can't believe you're posting this and telling women they should wear makeup in order to be beautiful and da 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 da. And it became like this debate where it was like, but I'm, you know, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if you feel good when you do that and you want to put on makeup and
Yeah.
you want to use that to enhance your beauty in that way, in that physical way, then that's cool. And you
Yeah.
should be able to
Yeah.
enjoy it. And it was very interesting that it was the men who couldn't understand it. You know, same way like it's the men who say women shouldn't wear short skirts because if you wear short skirts then you're asking for it, or men who say if you dress in a certain way then you're projecting something about yourself and it gives us a free ride. And it's utter bullshit
It's
because you
so
can
funny
actually,
the policing.
do you know what I mean? It's like, why can't I just, I do think there are certain levels to it where like certain things that you would wear are come from a sexual place, full stop. So then it's quite hard to
Yeah.
separate those things. But in general, like if I want to feel nice and sexy, no offense to my partner, but I've been with him for a very long time. So obviously I make the effort for him. But in general now, it's for me. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm doing that
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that to catch a man or to catch an eye or anything like that. I'm doing that because I
Yeah.
want to feel my best in the way that feels the best for me. So like totally given space for you to do that, whether that's involving makeup, hairstyles, dresses, jeans, overalls, no makeup,
Yeah. I
whatever it
mean,
is.
light beings in physical form, right? I feel
Mm-hmm.
we spend a lot of time in this spiritual. One of the reasons we start this podcast is to bridge the spiritual with the mundane. And the fact is, we are spiritual beings on a physical plane. And, you know, you're here to interact with the physical plane. And how
Mm-hmm.
you do that with your body is up to you. And I just think it's a friggin' farce. Like, we live in a society where women will be told they're asking for it if they wear a short skirt. And in the same breath, they'll be berated for wearing a burkini on the beach.
Mm.
Make it make sense.
Oh, the sweet irony.
What
Yeah.
do you want from us?
They just want to keep us in a perpetual state of confusion so we don't realise our true power and fucking take over the world, babes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so beauty beauty's gonna mean different things to different people, and I it's up to you guys. It's up to you. Like, you do you, babe. You
Mm-hmm.
do you.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
herbal beauty, I think today we wanted to do a little bit of like focusing on some magical how-tos, some tips and tricks, how to make yourself look gorgeous using spell work.
Glamour Magic. That made, oh my God, that makes me
Glamour
think of The
Magic.
Craft. Have you watched The Craft?
The Craft, that whole...
Oh my
Have
gosh, yeah.
I watched The Craft? I watched
just
the
need to
old
double
Craft
check.
and I've watched the new Craft.
I haven't watched the new one. Do I need to do that to be qualified?
Yeah, there's a remake, and do you know what? People get really pissy with remakes of things. I'm like, why don't you just leave the thing alone? Well, normally it's because studios have licenses on things and they want to keep the studio, they want to hold on to the
Want to
license.
make
That's
some money.
the business reason why
Exactly.
that's why they remake things. But at the same time, if there's a new spin put on it, I'm not mad at that. Like, I haven't watched the new Charmed though.
I haven't watched New Charmed, but it's because I'm so deeply connected with Charmed. It literally built my teenage life. So I'm a bit like, I don't know who these bitches are, but they're definitely not the Charmed witches, that's for sure. But I have to say that I did watch the new Sabrina, and they took that and made something completely different out of it, and I loved it.
I actually loved the new Sabrina probably more than I loved the old Sabrina, and I loved the old Sabrina.
I might have as well. Apart from the fact that Salem didn't actually speak, that kind of pissed me off. But yeah, sorry for the spoiler, guys.
I think Ambrose is a beautiful, beautiful man.
Yes.
And also probably what I'm naming my first son.
Oh, Ambrose is such a good name, and I feel like it's quite a Caribbean name to be calling.
Is it
your child? Oh yes, Ambrose. And what was the other one? Like Wilfred, Alfred, like all those kinds of names.
Yeah,
the names that almost make
Ambrose
you sound like
food of the gods.
Exactly. And the irony is that they are almost like the most aristocratic kind of names that you're gonna get.
Reginald. Winston. How did we get onto this?
No idea.
Right. No. You're here for the tangents, let's be real.
Yeah. No, if you're still with us, that's why you're here. So, back to Herbal Beauty.
We were talking about glamour. What is a glamour spell? Tell us.
Well, okay, so this is something that as an adult I haven't been super involved in. But as a child, getting into my Wicca, I used to love these spells. I don't know if 1,000% they worked in the way that I wanted them to, because I didn't do this. I tried to change my eye colour. It just didn't happen like it happened in The Craft. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't feel quite as real.
Yeah.
But essentially, these are kind of magics where glam magic is magic where you create illusions to lie on top of your physical appearance, so you can create a change. There's also another element of glamour magic that I feel like, I'm not sure if people would also count it as that, but there's something in there's these techniques that you can use to genuinely learn how to use all of your face muscles, because we've got so many muscles in our face and we don't hardly use any of them apart from a few major ones. And if you are able to take control of your micro muscles, you can literally change how your face looks.
What?
So there's also there's this from what I hear, and obviously I'm a bit of a weirdo, I go down weird places on the internet, but apparently CIA uses these kind of so you have people who are good at body language and things like that, or spies, and they'll be able to do that, literally use their muscles like that. So I feel like there's also for me, there's different scientific elements that can back up the idea of glamour magic. If you think about it obviously in a more elemental way, it's I guess about the manipulation of molecules to create reflection and refraction that changes the way the light hits your face. I don't know.
Ooh.
That's where I'm going with it.
Big words.
I know. So smart today.
I'm liking this. I haven't thought about it from that level. But that's essentially what you're doing, right?
How would you describe a glamour magic spell?
I would say similarly, glamour magic is about layering or changing something on top of your physical visage so that it appears outwardly to other people differently. And I guess because this isn't Harry Potter, it isn't literally changing your face. It's more changing the energetics of how people interpret yourself. That's how I like to think of it. And glamour spells have been said to be used throughout history by witches in order to like avoid detection. Usually in the past it's been used from like hiding for things. It's so fascinating. I grabbed my book with my magical encyclopedia, and I accidentally flicked to a page where I've written down a whole glamour spell that specifically hides you from the law.
Why is Jay doing
Protection
these
from
things?
the state.
What were you doing?
Anyone would think that I'm out here like burying bodies. I'm so boring. Come to my house, you will see how boring I am. Don't come to my house. Genuinely boring. Why do I have this written down?
You were doing something naughty.
So
there was some
mad.
plan that you maybe didn't carry out.
I was planning a bank robbery and somehow it involves a glamour spell.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
What I wish I'd have done is had the explanations of what I was trying to do here with this combination of things, because I'm now looking at it and I'm quite like, what the fuck was I smoking?
Did you date it? Is there a date on it?
Okay. There isn't a date. Salt, pepper, lemon balm, bamboo, basil, bay, sandalwood, high John, the conqueror, frankincense, and mullein.
Wow. Lots and lots of protection. Yeah.
Doesn't invisibility glamour count as a glamour?
I mean,
does it count as herbal beauty?
I don't. Well, so you're hiding yourself to get into Superdrug to Jackson Foundation. Then yeah, maybe it does.
That's what I was doing. Now we've cracked the codes. That makes a world more sense. Bizarre, so bizarre. Sometimes I amaze me, guys.
I'm gonna say this. I feel this is very strange. I feel like for Jay, because she's an incredibly organized person. But I feel like this is a good tip to now put out, because one thing you should do for yourself when you are making your grimoires and your magical journals and diaries is date the shit out of that stuff. Write the date and just a little sentence about what the fuck it is you were doing. Because I have the same thing where I'm looking back on something 10 years ago and I'm like, this was obviously incredibly important to me, but I have no memory or idea what this is at all. And it looks amazing, but I just don't know what it is anymore. Support yourself by writing dates.
Write yourself a note, please.
So one of the things that I find really interesting, like, so when we were thinking about doing this episode, and I was very much like, yeah, let's do Herbal Beauty. And then I was like, what do I do really for Herbal Beauty? And I feel like a lot of my work in regards to that isn't necessarily outside the body work. It's a lot of inside the body work. So I work with herbs and things like that. One of the things that I do a lot, and I just feel like this counts, is the kind of herbs that I will use with my cycle. So obviously I've said before, like I have a fucking crazy ass time when I'm on my period and everything. And then there are certain things that I will use, natural things that will kind of help cool and calm my body down, and therefore give me less wrinkles. So one of the things that I love to use, so if you have cramps and things like that, sage tea is an amazing tea to use when you're having your cramps. It's good. It can aid with sleep, but it doesn't make you drowsy. It just kind of relaxes you. So it's totally safe to use if you're going out or driving or whatever. But it's also, I think, an anti-spasmodic, which is
so
so
it
that
stops
will
your
help
body
with
from
the cramps.
spasming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'll do other bits and pieces, like I'll make hair oils. I'm big on the hair oils right now. trying to like get that thick
So am I.
extra growth. Is it? What are you doing? What are you making?
I have a hair oil, which I'm probably not going to disclose all of the ingredients because I'm still in two minds as to whether I'm going to start a line and sell this.
Oh my gosh.
But it's largely based with avocado and mango butter, and there are specific essential oils that I add in as well to boost prosperity, to boost hair growth, to like attract good vibes to me. So it's a general attractor of good things, as well as moisturizing my hair from scalp to ends. And there's an incantation that I do, or an affirmation that I do while I lay it onto my scalp and lay it on my hair. And it's hair on my crown, to the floor you'll grow down, healthy and strong, to the floor you'll grow long. And as I apply this to my scalp and my ends, I say this all the time. And when I was really consistent with doing it, like on an every other day basis, my hair got down to my mid back really quickly. So I don't know if it's the oil or the intention or a bit of column A, column B, but it really, really did work. And I was really very impressed with my beauty witchery there, because I didn't expect it. I was like, just try this thing, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen?
You have my address, don't you?
I do. I know where you live.
You know where I live, babe. So
And
where's my hair oils?
When we're looking at avocado is a feminine herb, ruled by the planet Venus, the element of water, and its powers are love, lust, and beauty. And the Aztecs used it for lust, and you're supposed to carry the pit to promote beauty. So if carrying the pit promotes beauty, then surely the oil from the pit is equally as good for like bringing those energies to you to aid in beauty. It's such a wonderful plant, avocados, isn't it?
They literally can do everything. They're so good. Breakfast to hair.
Slap it on your toes, slap it on your hair. Exactly. I probably want to point out that there are probably dermatologists out here who are on the sort of pharma side of I don't think if you're necessarily on the pharma side of things and a dermatologist, I'm not sure that you would be stumbling onto us with our unscientific stuff. I'm sure a dermatologist would tell you to use things with caution that work with you for you, what works for you, what works for your skin and your allergies and whatnot. And all of this is purely us telling you what we do, or what exists in the world of magic. Like, if you have an issue with this, then maybe an actual dermatologist who lays like different acids on your face is probably more your pace. By the way.
100%. I think that's an important thing to say. Obviously, when you're using any herbs, anything like that, you need to be aware of like your own body, your own allergies. If you've got any illnesses, anything like that, then definitely check with your doctor or a herbalist nutritionist first. But then on the flip side of saying that, also, these things in general, if you use them okay, are just not going to hurt you. So if we're talking about things like essential oils, that might be a good place to say about that. Like, so I use a lot of essential oils in everything, but essential oils you really want to dilute. So you want to dilute them in a carrier oil, so like a bigger oil that you would just use for massage, for example. So like grapeseed or jojoba or sweet almond, there are so many, even olive oil, anything like that. You don't dilute. And again, this is where Google is your best friend, because there is so much about how to get measurements right if you are worried about that kind of thing online to kind of guide you with it. But also I'm a bit like, don't be afraid of the plants. You know, don't be afraid of the plants.
Don't
And
be
almost
afraid.
everything in the pharmaceutical beauty industry, if you actually look at the ingredients and try and, you know, figure out what some of those crazy words mean, they are things that are derived from plants and then just kind of taken from the plant,
Yeah.
wrapped up in a different packaging of plastic and shit and put out. And we're just talking about the
Yeah.
natural aspects of it. What book are you
Yeah.
I feel like you need to show the audience like what book you're reading from right now. So what is it
This is
called?
Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had this one for a very long time. This is Llewellyn. If you know, if you know our Emma Catherine, she's also a Llewellyn published author now.
Here it
Woo! Witch
is. Here it
Life,
is.
yeah.
Such a good book.
Shout out
Um,
to shout out
Shout
to
out to
Emma.
Emma.
But yeah, this is a Llewellyn book, and it's uh, it's a really useful. I don't use it standalone.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a book which unfortunately is propping up my laptop right now. So actually, my camera's not attached to my laptop. Why have I got it propped up if my camera's up there? Ridiculous. Working.
I can't see it.
You came here for chaos, guys. Working the root. Over
Oh.
400 years of traditional African American healing, and it's a nice.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is these two in conjunction have been really helpful for understanding like the British herbs and
Mm-hmm.
the more traditional what our ancestors would have used.
I
And
need that
I
book.
use this because I live in Britain, so I need to know
Sorted.
the folklore of this land. That's really important.
100%.
This is so nice and juicy. It has like different remedies, folk remedies, and it's got like a couple spells at the end. It tells you the medicinal properties, like if something's antifungal, antiviral, you know, rabbit, tobacco, bay leaf. It's just so
I
many
need
different
that.
ways of working with it. It's so good.
Babe, it's just even the
So
way like
good.
it sounds, it's so heavy and full of knowledge. The pages are like whoosh, whoosh. It makes me sick,
Yeah.
like turns me on a little bit.
It's some like ASMR for you guys. What you got in your hands there?
I've got, so this is one of my favourites at the moment, again, like being in Britain, a country
Yeah.
herbal. Oh gosh, I'm a bit too close to the camera. There you go.
Ooh.
Country Herbal by Leslie Gordon. So this book I actually found, I went to like a 60th birthday party and it was in like this manor house, and I think it was where like Jane Austen might have written some of her books, and so there was this the most amazing library there, and I lost my shit and was just like stood in this room for the whole like party weekend. And
Yeah.
this book was on the shelf. I pulled it out, it fell open on Datura, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need that.
It's for
So
you.
it was for me, and it's beautiful. It has, you know, it's like you've got all the traditional style kind of illustrations, and one of the things that I really love that it does for some of the plants, not all of them, hang on, it does. So for example, it talks about mandrake, and it will say this plant is under the dominion of Mercury. So it seems like just like quite a normal herbal book. It was published in I don't even know. First published in 1980. So I just find it really interesting that it has, you know, the planetary connections as well with it, because especially when you're doing spell work, obviously these are all different levels of things that you can integrate into using that energy. So obviously if you want to use something that is about love, maybe if it's got a planetary connection to Venus, it's going to be a good thing to use.
More potent. Yeah.
More potent, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm so excited about your hair. Is it hair butter that you make, or oils? Both.
It's a hair butter. It's a hair butter. It's nice and thick, but it can be like made down into an oil. And I do want to do that because it's just really nourishing for my hair, and I have a whole routine. Oh, this is gonna gross some people out. if you're that way
Tell me.
inclined. I stopped using shampoo probably about 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I stopped using shampoo is because at the time I started dropping out from everything that society told us we're supposed to use. And it doesn't mean I went around stinking or not washing my hair. I simply used Ayurvedic herbs to wash my hair. So there's something called a soap nut. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know uh, the Hindi name for it, but it's a nut called soap nut, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
saponic. And a saponic is a plant that has a soap-like quality to it. Um, so when you mix it with water and you rub it between your hands, it actually like slightly foams. And that has been used traditionally in India for thousands of years to cleanse the scalp and rinse the hair. So I would mix that up with some aloe vera. I have had aloe vera plants in my house now for probably the last 7 years. And I'd scoop out the inside of the aloe vera, um, put that in the blender, mix it up with soap nut, and I'd use that to clarify my scalp. Now, interestingly, I've started using shampoo again probably within the last year,
Mm-hmm.
and my I'm I yesterday my partner will know I was complaining about my hair. It is breaking, it is shorter again. My scalp is just like flaky.
Mm.
It just does not look good. So this is probably a wake up call to myself to switch back to what I know does work. It cleanses my scalp, and it also stops my scalp from being really flaky.
Oh my gosh, I need to try that because shampoos are just not working for my life right now. It's like I need to use it because my hair
Yeah,
gets quite greasy and weighed down, but like
yeah,
the drying out that it does of my low porosity 3B to C hair is so extreme, and it's driving me up the
yeah.
wall to the extent where I'm like, I'm gonna cut it off. But yeah, there's so many. This is the thing. It does sound scary to be like, oh, you don't use shampoo, but actually, there's a whole thing. Like, if you use stuff, then your body stops being able to do certain things. So, like, if
Yeah.
you wash your hair with shampoos, which we all do and we have done our entire lives,
Mm,
then what actually happens? Your scalp over makes sebum to kind of
mm.
condition the hair, which makes your
Re-moisturize.
hair
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, it makes it greasy and all that kind of stuff. So then you continue using the shampoo and you have to use a shampoo, and then if you stop using shampoo,
yeah,
you have to go through basically like a detox phase where your hair is greasy and sticky and a bit shit for a little while, and then it will kind of revert back to maybe closer to how it should naturally be. Those things are
yeah.
just scary to do because we're all worried about how we look on a day to day, right? um
How we smell.
how we smell 100%, but oh my gosh, like I feel so inspired to do that also because like sometimes I will make products for myself because
Yeah,
the version of those products that I want are so expensive or come from another country,
expensive.
or and it's like it kind of gets crazy, and then I kind of look at what's in the products
Mm.
and I think, well, I've got an aloe vera plant and I've fucking got,
I have
there's
some
a
olive
willow
oil
tree
in
down the road, I've got
my
some
kitchen
olive
cupboard.
oil, got Jamaican black
Yeah,
castor oil. It's all good. Like I could literally just make this up exactly in the
yeah,
way that I would. It just takes a bit of effort and a bit of time. But again, like those are the places where you can, like you were saying earlier, Jay, like put your intention in it. That's the place where you can then attach a
mm,
mantra, attach that focus. So you're actually um creating magic with this, and you're enhancing
yeah,
your beauty through that. I love it. Absolutely love it.
yeah.
Um, at the moment, I'm really using my favorite herbs are for like my hair. At the moment, are like rosemary, lavender. Lavender is like, I feel like
Mm.
if you've got one herb in your herb closet, it kind of needs to be lavender in a way.
Do you know
Like it
what?
does so much.
Agreed.
Do you know
Agreed.
what I mean? Like the properties of
Mm.
that, from like it's antiseptic, it's obviously mood enhancing and calming. It's oh gosh, it has so many properties. I should have written them all down. Let's see if My Country Herbal has it.
Well, lavender is supposed to be a masculine herb of the planet Mercury,
I
which
baby
is
missed that. I just opened it on that. It was
well,
like Magic. I just opened it on lavender. Sorry. Go
Thank you,
ahead.
spirits. You're
Thanks, Spirit.
obviously here with us for this episode. It's a planet Mercury. Mercury being the
Yeah.
messenger planet. If you look at lavender out in the wild, it's always surrounded by bees. Whatever time of year, there always seems to be a bee. Even if it's dead of winter
Yeah.
and bees shouldn't be about, there's a bee.
Yeah.
The scent literally carries to the spirit. So it being a plant of Mercury makes sense, being a messenger. Element being air, because air is the planet of communication again. It's for love, protection, sleep, chastity, longevity, purification, happiness, and peace. It's long been used in love spells and sachets. Well, love in relation to beauty, I think the word that comes to mind here is attraction. So when we're doing these love spells, there's something about attraction which has implicit links to beauty. You know, eye of the beholder beauty. And it's good for sleep, conducive to a long life, and carry to see ghosts. Amazing.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. So when we're saying, like, put this stuff under your pillow to sleep, but just beware that some
It's
ghosts
funny
might
you
pop
said
out as
pillow.
well.
Yeah, it's for divination. You put it under your pillow. What's it saying on your end? I want to see working
On
the
my
roots
end,
as well.
okay, so a country herbal isn't as magic. Obviously, is saying about the link with Mercury, but it kind of just gives a bit more of a history of it, which I'm not going to read because it's very long and full of dates and things like that. But yeah, that's interesting because I didn't really think about lavender for divination before, but that makes a lot of sense actually.
I use it a lot for divination. In fact, it's paired with frankincense. That's what I tend to use as a divination oil.
Okay.
It's very useful.
Yeah.
Works really well.
Yeah. Okay. Can you send me some divination oil, please? I haven't made anything really this year. I feel very out of place because I'm in a beautiful countryside place where I can forage, but I don't have anywhere to like dry my forages or create those things at the moment. So I need help. I need to be sent gifts of anointed oils and things like that, please. Thank you.
This is shouting out to you guys.
So I'm anyone. Anyone at all.
Honestly, we probably are going to be starting to look for people to display their wares on the show, because we are getting quite a big audience like asking us for where they get this, where they get that. So having someone recommend a good herbal balm or something like that, we're always down for that.
Yeah, hit us up with that stuff. There is I'm not going to talk loads about her, but you, what can we do, what can we do for colds? What can we do for colds?
Feverfew.
Feverfew.
Christmas bush.
What is that? What's Christmas bush?
Pass. I just know I have it in my cupboard, and every time I have a cold, I go for it. It's fine. It works well.
Okay, I'm gonna research.
I just go to these Caribbean like supermarkets, and they always have like a herbal section where they've got like mad teas.
Yeah,
you're like, what is this? What what is this for? I think Caribbean people are very, very good at getting together herbal remedies for things before they go to the doctors. I guess famously, doctors would be quite a bit of money, and you can learn to heal yourself through herb and intention. And we're starting to see the science to back this up. What was just called like silly witchcraft for years and years, we're actually now starting to get the studies behind herbs and intention, and how those things pair together to actually heal the body, which is really really freaking great, to be honest. It makes me feel like less of a labeled person.
100%. Well, it's interesting now that science is actually bringing all of these things together, and the power of the mind is actually one of, I think, the things that is starting to really be understood now as useful. Like, I find the word placebo a very interesting word. you
I'm
know.
glad you brought this. I'm so glad you brought this up because it was just there, and I thought, no, let's not go on that rant. But
Oh no,
clearly,
no, I
we're meant to
wanted
be
you
here together.
to.
So let me
I was
plug
waiting for
in.
you to do that. I was waiting for you to do that because it is. I just think I'm reading all these things at the moment. Like I was reading the other day about this trial. Oh gosh, my memory is so bad. I can't remember what it was actually about. But there was this trial, and they'd given people you know, obviously it's a typical thing, a placebo, and some people an actual drug, and the results were the exact same. And then they gave some people a placebo and some people a drug, and told them that the drug wasn't a placebo, was a placebo or whatever, you know. And it just shows. The word placebo is a very interesting word in our society because we kind of take it as a negative. Okay, well, your mind's just done that. But actually, if you genuinely think about that, placebo, so you've been told something and you've believed that so much that your mind has actually created a physical change in your body. I think that is the highest magic. It's, you know, so I kind of almost want to bring awareness to this word, and actually that placebo, if things can be done by placebo, it's almost kind of the best way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so weird. It's such a dirty word. Oh, it's just the placebo. Oh, did it work, or it's just the placebo made it work? Well, if the placebo made it work, then it fucking worked. If
100%.
It worked, didn't it?
It worked, and what a beautiful
If it
thing
looks
that
stupid,
actually
but it works, then guess what? It's not stupid.
it's not stupid. Exactly. If think about, if purely the power of your mind can create a physical change, the power of your mind. If a doctor sits down in front of you and says this pill will cure you, then for the majority of people, whether or not that pill is made of sugar or actual drugs, that pill will cure them. Your mind has done that. Seriously, guys, let's take a moment of silence for the word placebo, like, and how deep it is. Like, I'm taking that shit back. But yeah. Oh, I'm losing my headphones.
You're right.
So here's the drama with curly hair. The headphone drops out and I have to like find it from within.
You have to fish it from the realm that is Nicola's curly hair.
I lost my sunglasses in my hair once. I was like, where have they gone? Just under the heaps of curls. Anyway, back to to the subject matter.
Going to this idea of placebo and thinking about beauty, I want to give a little moment of time to talk about how we talk about ourselves in terms of our beauty. Oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm so fat. Oh, like, I don't think that's not a helpful spell to cast upon yourself. Do you know? It's not self-love, and you know, when you start beating down on yourself like that, it does show over the years, because
100%.
there's a whole attitude that goes with it, because you're not taking care of yourself in a way that you should, because you've told yourself you're not worthy of that care. So you have to tell yourself you're worthy of that care and then match it up with that. I have a bit of a beauty steam here that is a 2-for-1 special. Really, this is something I used when I have loads of witchy friends, and this particular witchy friend, shout out Agatha, she gave me some like face masks that were infused with frankincense for protection. And before I put this face mask on, I would like steam my face with yarrow, catnip, and rose water. Now, they're all herbs that relate to the planet Venus. I'm not sure about rose, if rose relates to the planet Venus, but the other two definitely are. So rose being a planet of Venus being a planet of beauty again, and that was really, really friggin' useful for opening my pores and, you know, pondering upon my beauty, basically calling it to me. Yeah, rose is Venus and water again, and healing. So using those all together to help heal the face, open the pores, just pouring a little bit of that into a bowl of steamy water, putting a towel on top and then steaming. Really good for opening those pores before I put on this like frankincense face mask. I don't know if she's opened her shop as yet. She was like pondering opening a shop. So if there is, then I'm gonna have to give her a shout, and
Please do.
we'll
She's got a
definitely
customer
have.
right here.
Yeah, because this frankincense face mask, not only did it smell like, oh, so beautiful, it just smelled so gorgeous, just frankincense all over you. Every time I would wear it, I genuinely felt like more empowered, like I stood up stronger after wearing this face mask.
Mm,
Um, which, once again, the power of these, I mean, stronger as a witch, not just like stronger, like more powerful. Um, infusing some of these things into those sorts of routines can really help to set about the intention of what you want for yourself, who you want
mm-hmm,
yourself to be.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, and your skin is so beautiful. So definitely buy those
Thank
face
you.
masks, guys. I just pulled up roses in a country herbal to see about
Yeah.
the planet, and actually it's broken it down. So this is quite interesting. Red
Oh,
roses. So red roses are under Jupiter. Damask roses
of
are under
course.
Venus, and white
Yes.
roses are under the moon.
White roses are under the
Isn't
moon.
that beautiful?
Oh, that
Um,
really is.
Fossilized traces of the rose of 35 million years old have been found in Montana, Colorado, and Oregon. Wow, so it's like this
Wait a
is an
minute.
old 35 million years old
There are
they've
rose.
found.
Of course, there are rose fossils somewhere. Why haven't I sought this crystal out?
This is
You
true.
get petrified wood. Why haven't I sought out like petrified herbs?
This is such a good point. I mean, I do have some jet, which is actually
Yeah.
wood. Have I got
Wow.
that right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that's what it is. It's like a
Yeah.
petrified kind of wood, really specifically. But yeah, it's so interesting to think
Yeah.
about how all of these things can come as well. And this is, it's interesting. Why would you want a fossil of? I just want to
Yeah.
explain that for some people who may not have really put it together, but obviously because we work with crystals and things like that, and they carry certain energies, like any plant or anything that you can get that is kept or fossilized in that way, like this then would hold the energy of that, and you'd work with it in that way rather than like putting it on your skin or whatever. You could work with a rose fossil in the same way you'd work with a crystal, and I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
um I also saw in Emma's book, she has a spell. So this book again,
Mm.
guys, wonderful Emma, please
Yes.
get a copy of this because it's great. So she had, where were they, rose hip, so a rose hip necklace, and she's got the rose hips are ruled by Jupiter, and they're associated
Yeah.
with health, wealth, prosperity, and fertility. So they can be useful to wear as ritual jewelry. So she suggests gathering rose hips and then stringing together to make a ritual necklace
Yeah.
for ceremony. And I think that's also beautiful, because if we are talking about
Yeah.
herbal beauty, I also think there's space for kind of like how you adorn yourself for things like that. So obviously
Yes.
going back to the Sunday best thing, like you can also adorn yourself with these herbs to carry that vibration in your work as well. um
Mm.
I really want you to make some conditioner for me.
You've been saying this since you saw the recipe. She's the only
I know,
person who's seen the recipe.
but I can't remember it because I've got a shit memory, so don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
That's all right. I absolutely need to get into the habit, especially 2020, 2021, because I was indoors more. There was a lot more time to be able to pull these things together. I think this
Mhm.
year, 2022, it's been like, right, I need to squeeze all of the life into my life I can possibly squeeze into it, because the last 2 years were shit. Now let's just go get my standard conditioner. Let's go get a standard face wash. And honestly, it's just been absolutely wrecking me. Probably I'm glad we've done this episode, because it's a reminder for me to like stop and actually go to the tried and tested stuff that I know works. I know works
Exactly.
so well.
Don't
Works for
confuse
me.
yourself. Like, you know that
Yeah.
it's worked before for you. Yeah, 100%. Sorry.
No, you're entirely right.
Yeah. it makes me think, actually, there's one more thing, I guess, one more herbal beauty recipe that I make for myself. And this is probably the thing that I've made the most consistently over the most amount of years. And honestly, when I started making this, there wasn't any, I didn't really think about it in a spiritual way at all. But I do
Mm-hmm.
now. Because again, just when I think when you get into this stuff and then you start to layer herbs and things like that together and understand their properties, then it can just become deeper. Like, so I make this cream because I've always suffered from eczema from
Mm.
when I was a baby, and it was always one of those things where steroid creams are they're terrible for you. They really thin your skin, so it's kind of like an ironic situation that they're what we really use.
Mm.
But I always had really bad reactions to them. They would never work. A lot of the time they'd make my eczema worse. So there was just years and years and years where I just was suffering with this eczema and couldn't find anything that would work. Some Chinese, I used to go to a Chinese doctor, and a lot of the time that would help, but sometimes it could be too strong for my sensitive little system.
Mm.
So I started to
Yeah.
make a shea butter cream. Now, shea is literally, again, one of those, it's just like the most amazing plant. It's got so many
Yeah.
useful properties, so many levels, like, from food to external use. It's really great, really, what's the word? I don't think many people are allergic to it. I've met like one person who said to me they don't really like it, but in general it's really safe. It's great for babies. Like, I've met people who use it solely for their babies who have eczema. So shea butter, a bit of cocoa butter. I'm not talking about Palmer's cocoa butter. I'm talking about getting like a block of cocoa butter,
Yeah.
and it needs to look yummy enough that it looks like white chocolate and you would just eat it, but don't eat it.
Yeah, it does not.
Mix it
I've
with the
tried
shea.
biting into it. It's not good,
It
guys.
doesn't. It doesn't taste as good as it looks, does it?
No,
So
you smell it. It's like, this is gonna be the tastiest. No,
no,
fucking
no,
lies.
don't do it. It's lies. But it's great for your skin. So, so I will mix shea butter. I'll melt it down really slowly. So this is another thing to remember if you're working with herbs, that a lot of them have like boiling points where you basically will ruin the herb's properties if you take it past that point. So I very lightly heat the cocoa butter and shea butter until they are just a little bit soft, and then I will mix them together. I add into that lavender because it's antibacterial and fungal. It's
Mm.
really good for things like eczema. Also, it has those calming properties like we've just spoken about. And usually that will be the only essential oil that I'll use. I think for things like eczema or skin conditions, still keeping it as simple as possible. So this is
Mm.
it's 4 ingredients. So the fourth ingredient will be a tiny little bit of jojoba oil, and then it just literally makes it into the
Yeah.
most silky, creamy thing. So melt it up, mix it all together, get a whisk, and then whisk that shit until it is creamy and gorgeous and
Mm.
smooth. And that then it just
Yeah.
lasts for ages because it's got the oils in it. It is so moisturizing. It's the kind of cream that you kind of need to put it on and you need to let it dry for like
Yeah.
10 minutes. Don't put your trousers on straight
Yeah.
away. But that has literally saved my eczema. Like, it heals my skin every single time.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where the reason I brought it up is because, like what you were saying about do what you know sometimes, and also having that faith and trust in yourself, which I think is
Mm.
really, again, important when you're doing these things, when you're taking your initiative to create these things for yourself. Like, I struggled with that when I was like, okay, my cream works, but surely somebody who knows stuff would have made something that's better. So I'll stop using the cream and I'll go and get, like, whatever else other thing, and it never works. Never. It's like literally
Yeah.
now my legs won't even be moisturized by another kind of cream. I need to make that. And that's
Yeah.
a really beautiful one to make. And multifaceted.
I'm gonna have a go at that
You
because
should.
we use coconut oil at home for our skin here, and you know what? It works for some seasons, but not in others. And
Okay.
my husband must be the only white guy in the world who's like anal as fuck about his moisturizer. He like watching Chris moisturize is a friggin' treat.
Is it?
He's militant. He's like, no, showers happened, must moisturize, can't not moisturize. It's just disgusting to go away unmoisturized. And
Oh my
he's been
gosh.
complaining about the coconut oil. Yeah, he's better than me. I'm not gonna lie on that. Um, he's been complaining that it's not working as well as certain seasons. So I'm gonna try that,
Yeah,
because that sounds
you
like a treat.
you might need something a bit heavier. It's interesting with coconut oil because I think there's like, gosh, I might upset someone here, but like obviously it's like this big thing. Everyone uses it for their hair and skin. I can't use it. I don't like the smell,
Yeah.
but it's
You don't like
like
the smell?
not really. I don't like. It's because I don't like oils. I've got a whole story around that I will tell you like later, but it's not for this episode. So it can be quite intense for me.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
Everyone uses coconut oil, but you don't
Oh,
need
coconut
to
oil.
necessarily use coconut oil.
So I find coconut oil is also what they call comedogenic, which means that it can, if you're somebody who can get spots, it can give you spots.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I will,
clogs.
I will
Okay.
literally break out if I use it. So I don't love it. I don't find it that moisturizing. I feel like it's the kind of oil that sits on top. It's not true for everybody. I
Yeah.
know people who love that stuff. But that's why I prefer to use cocoa butter and the shea butter. And then jojoba oil for me, because jojoba oil is like the size of the molecule is like the same as your hair, I think, and skin. So it absorbs
Yeah,
really
it is.
easily.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
so
has a
yeah.
similar chemical composition. It's the oil with the most similar chemical composition to your hair's natural sebum oil.
So that's why I like to use it. Yeah, I'll send you the recipe, and you whip some up for Chris. Let
Okay.
him, tell me how it goes.
I will, because do you know, cheeky bugger at the moment is using my hair thing to moisturize.
What did he ask permission?
No, I've been noticing it going down a bit, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't really been using it. It's just because it's a butter. It's like when the oil pulls at the bottom, I use that." I'm like, "That's not a part of it, is it?" It's like, what? He's been using that to moisturize, so it's a good all-in-one. Apparently, this hair butter.
Oh my gosh! Okay, we're waiting for the range to come out, my love. Seriously. Oh my gosh! You know
That'll
what
be
we
one
didn't
product that
do,
does everything. What didn't
which
we do?
is what we need. Yeah, we need to do the readings. But yeah, no, one product that does everything is literally my dream. So
Yeah.
if you can make it, you will literally make my dreams come true.
Cream your face, moisturize your hair, brush your teeth, use it as a
Babe,
deodorant.
babe, bring this into my life.
Oh my goodness. So today we are using, again, the illustrated herbiary. It turns out I can't read when it's mirrored on camera. The illustrated herbiary collectible box set by Maya Toll, and it has this beautiful, beautiful book and this beautiful deck with a gold side. We do not get paid for plugging people's tarot decks, by the way. We're just a little obsessed. This is an oracle deck.
And I love it because it's keeping within the theme of our Herbal Beauty.
It is Herbal Beauty. I feel like this season we're doing a lot of plant stuff.
It's all about the plants, man. It's all about the plants.
That's why we're animists. Okay, so the card pull today. Mullein.
Ooh. Okay.
Are you going to
I
your
love
book?
the
Because I'll go to
illustrations.
mine.
I was just going to, but you obviously take charge and you read it. It's just because I literally just went past it.
Mullein.
Ooh.
Mullein appears where she's needed and has trouble staying where she's not. Because of her penchant for moving about, over the years, she's learned quite a bit, making her a wise guide on any journey. Mullein brings multifaceted understandings into alignment with each other, easily building intellectual bridges between seemingly disparate or disjointed things. Because her gift is seeing the structure of the whole, she'll sing the relationship of bone to water or air to skin in a way that makes you wonder how you never saw those patterns yourself. Call on Mullein when you need a torch in the darkness or an overview of the whole so you can understand the parts.
Oh, wow.
So it's about understanding the misunderstood. And mullein is such a fascinating plant in and of itself. As you heard in the beginning, for some reason it's in my invisibility glamour. I can't
Mm.
tell you right now why that is. I'm so I'm so sorry. But it's really good if you are a smoker of any kind, tobacco or otherwise. It's really good to add this in, just smoke it as a herbal, as a herb by itself, because it helps to clear out the lungs. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
good for. It's a feminine plant. It's also of the planet Saturn. So its roots reach down and it reaches up to the sky, as above, so below. Its deity is
Mm.
Jupiter. Interesting. It's used for courage, protection, health, love, divination, and exorcism. It's warned to keep wild animals away from you.
Oh, is it?
It's also carried to obtain love from the opposite sex. In India, mullein is regarded as the most potent safeguard against evil spirits and magic, and is hung over doors,
Mm.
in windows, and carried in sachets. Is also used to banish demons and negativity. Okay, so that's probably why it would have been in my invisibility glamour, because we're
Mm.
looking to banish that negativity. Um, at one time, witches and magicians used oil lamps to illuminate their spells and rites, and downy leaves and stems of the mullein often provided the wicks. So
How
it's used to light the
interesting.
way. Yeah.
I'm actually in love with this plant now. I need to start working with her. I've just read
Yes.
something as well in my book. So it's known history. It says begins with the Greeks and Romans who used it for many domestic purposes. Um, that it was used. The long stem was dipped in wax and used to burn at feasts and funerals. And the Roman legions used it as torches, all that kind of stuff. And they used the flower to dye their hair blonde, mullein. But they're saying,
Oh.
I know, because chamomile is good for that as well. But mullein had a darker and more sinister side. Or her name's interesting to pronounce. It's either Circe, or Kirke. Right, so she's a Greek,
Okay.
Romo-Greek witch. So she is the first witch. Do you know about her, Jay?
Ah,
So
no,
she's
I do
supposed to be the
not.
first witch. She was born from a nymph and a god, and
Yes.
but she wasn't a goddess or a nymph. She was a
Okay.
witch. So she was the first. This odd no, but none of the other gods and goddesses really kind of understood what she was, and she went off and lived on a little island by herself. And she was
Sounds
featured
witchy
in
to me.
very witchy, very fucking witchy. Learned to work with herbs and plants on this island. And that's basically what she did. She didn't have like that kind of power of the gods where you can just do stuff. She had to learn how to work with the
Yeah.
herbs. So it was just a really interesting story. And then she features in the
Wow.
I think it's in the Odyssey, because Odysseus was
Okay.
involved with her, and she was about the kind of time of Troy. So if you're into that kind of mythology, she's very interesting
Yeah.
energy to think about. So she used it in her incantations, and therefore it was the plant of all witches and sorceresses, since it served to light them in their rites. Hence the
Mm,
names hag taper or pig's taper. Yet if the leaves of this
okay.
same plant were gathered when the sun was in Virgo and the moon was in Aries, they acted as a protection against sorcery. So Ulysses took mullein to protect himself against the wiles of Circe. How
So you
interesting
heard
is
that
that?
first. If you've got a rival friggin' sorcerer trying to give you shit,
Get
when's
some
the
mullein, boy.
next? When's the next? Oh, we're in Virgo right now, but when's the next moon in
What?
Aries?
Oh, I don't actually know. But you know what I'm like? I'm following the sidereal stuff, which is saying something completely different.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it
Let
is.
me find what she's just said today. It's actually, so if you, okay, so obviously you guys know that I'm all into my astrology. Sorry, this is another tangent. It's the last tangent, I promise. Um, you know, guys know that I'm very much into my sidereal astrology right now, my Vedic astrology, and I'm following this person called Sachi the Scorpio, and absolutely love them on Instagram. They do
Yes.
regular like little drops about what's actually going on in the true skies right now. So she's saying right now And the date that we're recording this is actually the 10th of September, so it's a bit behind from when you guys will hear it. But the full moon is peaking today, right?
Yeah.
Within the constellation of Aquarius. So not Virgo or whatever everyone's saying. Within Shatapishak, which is Vedic. So this is a time to release all energy that no longer serves us in regards to science, technology, class consciousness, non-human species, emotional analysis, humanitarianism, and revolution. So fuck off Superdrug, guys. Make all your own herbs. Herbal remedies. We're in.
And on that fabulous note... Yeah, on that fabulous note, guys, go out there and, you know, find some body safe herbs to work with, herbs that work with your constitution. And remember, your life, your experience of humanity is in your hands, and you can take some of that back by interacting with nature and blending up your own shampoos and creams.
100%.
That's it. That's the moral of this story today. Thank you so much for being here. We are so humbled and honoured that you join us here week after week. I've been Jay Percy.
And I'm Nicola, and we will catch you all next week. Bye.
Ciao. Thank you, beautiful being of the multiverse, for joining us on the Afro Animist podcast.
If you want to get stuck into the conversation or have a question about anything we speak about here, join our mailing list and find us on our socials.
On TikTok and Instagram, find us at the Afro Animist podcast.
On Twitter, you can find us at Afro Animist. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, you can also find this talk on YouTube. Just search for us and we will pop up as if by magic.
If you're loving what we're talking about here, share, like, and subscribe. And remember to leave us a thumbs up or 5-star rating on your favourite platform.